We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Single, if you would do the roll call, I would appreciate it.
Terry Engel here, Amy Erke.
I'm here.
Kelly De La Cruz.
Here.
Aaron Phillips is absent. Lauren Shanerock.
Here.
Pat Tyre.
Here.
Rick Schultz.
Here. Have an agenda before us this evening. Mr. Mayak, are there any additions or corrections?
There is none.
This time I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Motion made by Ms. Erke, seconded by Ms. Tyre to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Public comments this evening. Anyone with us this evening?
No, it is registered.
Wonderful audience. All right. With that, we'll move right into superintendent's reports. Mr.
And we'll start with the administrative report, so Sarah, if you'd pull that up, and who do we have first? That is our elementary, Dr. Meyer.
Which way would you like? Just right here is good.
Well, let me introduce the birthday club first. That it is birthday week for our administrative team. That on this past Friday was Dr. Meyer's birthday. Today is Mr. Berg's birthday.
Wow, what are you doing here?
No, Saturday.
You told me it was
actually.
mandatory.
Saturday was
Happy
his
birthday.
birthday.
Great.
Today is Grant's and Friday is Mandra's. So
Wonderful.
We're not doing anything this whole week.
so I was going to ask you to sing the happy birthday song after
Oh,
the
yes,
national
absolutely. We can do that.
Pledge of Allegiance, but
We can do it.
right. So happy birthday, everyone.
Yes.
Now, Dr. Meyer.
Sure. Yeah, just it's kind of listed up there, but a full month for October. It's National Anti-Bullying Month, so our Panther Pride focus is really on looking for kindness, safety with students, and really celebrating when we see that happening, whether it's in the on the playground, in the cafeteria, hallways, wherever. So just really focusing on that this month. We are updating our report cards just to look at the standards and curriculum alignment with the new curriculum. That's kind of an ongoing thing, but we're just looking at the reading language arts piece on the report cards. So we'll be talking about that at our meeting tomorrow, at our staff meeting. And Mandra's helping with that as well. For PLCs, we're having the grade levels and areas meet twice per month to look at for curriculum planning, just to look at the data, look at the curriculum, what they're doing, just making sure everybody's kind of keeping up with things and making sure it's done with fidelity and looking at the assessments and all those pieces too. So just giving them some time to plan. And then of course, homecoming was amazing. We had a great time, and the marathon was really well attended with all the parents and everything too, in the parade and Pet Fest. We've had fire prevention, Club's Choice fundraiser. The color run was lots of fun. We had, I think, almost 200 people that came and signed up. So kids had a blast, had a lot of fun. I was able to visit Eagle Bluff last Tuesday. That's so amazing. The kids had a really good time, and I did some archery, not too bad. So that was lots of fun, so yeah. And then the end of the quarter, we have our Halloween costume parade again this year, so we're gonna dress up and parade through the classrooms, and then that'll be the end of the first quarter. And if you want more information, you can always look at the newsletter. So, any questions about anything?
You're busy.
It's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Before Mandra speaks, I also have a introduction I'll pass along with her. That today we received our South Central Service Co-op, their teacher induction and mentoring program newsletter. And I believe this is the first one that came out. Maybe we received a September newsletter, but Mandra was highlighted in their newsletter this month as one of the members and contributing members, taking part in a lot of the different trainings and sessions that they have to offer. So congratulations, Amanda, for being highlighted by South Central Service Co-op.
On my page, I just said that I'm currently working on the bits and pieces for collecting data for those CACR goals. Just kind of getting myself familiarized with what that is and how to look at different pieces. The beginning of the year screener is completely done for 6 through 12. We met as an ELA team and kind of determined the locally determined threshold for who would be part of the next screener. So that should have a quote coming probably tomorrow. I asked for a quote this morning. It's called CAPD Read Basics, and this is only for kids 4 through 12 that have scored below average reading. And so 4th grade all the way through 12, I'm ordering it for 146 students. Another READ Act requirement is that parents do need to be notified of their students' original scores. And then there's a spot on there where we do ask and report, okay, if they are not at grade level, what are we doing to help intervene? And that's kind of the puzzle piece that kind of needs to be looked at system-wide as a school to see what are we going to put in place moving forward now that we know that there's this big of a need. And the next page I had put just kind of the breakdown of how many students per grade level. 6 through 12 all took the same exact test. 4 and 5, it's determined by their FastBridge testing. And really 4th and 5th grade, those are your intervention kids anyways. They are receiving those services automatically, and they've already been receiving those services since the beginning of October. 6 through 12 is the question mark because there is not a licensed interventionist, so how do we get some of those services into kiddos that are reading below grade level? The 6th grade numbers, 6 and 7 is a little high. 11th grade is really low because we chose not to screen our PSEO students. So out of the entire section that we did screen, only 4 of them would qualify based on our criteria. So that's kind of the breakdown per grade level. So that 20% range is not surprising because the majority of the population is dyslexic at 20%. So this is what we're working on next, is getting those screened and figured out, those puzzle pieces to put in our classrooms. And that's it, I think, for mine.
Thank you.
All right, just a few updates from Community Ed. We had screening last week. It went very well. We were down in screening numbers this last week compared to the previous years. So I'll be taking a look at that to see if we still need 5 days of screening per year or if we could drop down to 4. It all depends on the census and where we're at. But we are actually way ahead of schedule for screening some of these kids. The majority of the kids that come through are probably about 3.5, a little under 3.5 now, so we can slow down a little bit there. Otherwise, ECFE, our classes began 2 weeks, well, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We have a total of 9 families right now. I did talk to a few families at dance tonight that were interested in joining ECFE as well, so hopefully those numbers will tick up a little bit. Youth enrichment, art club begins tomorrow, Lego club begins on Friday. I have an overwhelming amount of children in Lego club, so it's awesome, but they're really looking forward to that, so that's always a great time. School age care, last week we were open on Thursday, the non-school day. We were closed on Friday due to not having the minimum amount of kids registered, which is pretty typical for a Friday. Otherwise, our dance program started at the beginning of October. We have 11 more students this year than we did last year. We have a total of 20 tiny dancers. So I was over there observing them tonight, and we were able to increase that class size because we had 8 kids on our waiting list. And it just breaks my heart to have people on the waiting list. So we were able to find another instructor, and we have 2 very experienced helpers that help with that class, and it actually went beautifully from what I saw tonight. They do a great job. Otherwise, yeah, we're full in all the areas. I ordered costumes tonight, so we're probably gonna have to cut it off if anybody else wants to join. Otherwise, performance cheer begins tomorrow as well. We have 18 students in that. It's down about 8 from last year. We have an adult class coming up here at the beginning of November. Adult recreation, we have a men's volleyball open gym that's Wednesday evenings. So we've had that the last 2 weeks so far. There's an okay amount of boys that show up for that. They are actually registered in a league through Owatonna. So it's all of our students, so they wanted the opportunity to be able to practice in here. So we went ahead and opened it up as an open gym. Otherwise, special events, Halloween Kids Fest coming up next Friday. I always have that down at City Hall, just because it's a little more localized for some of the trick-or-treaters. That's what we have going on for the next couple of weeks. Any questions?
Is flag football, girls flag football through you, or is that through State High School League? Are you aware of girls flag football coming this spring?
Couple of things.
So I believe it has to be funneled through community ed, so we'll have some oversight there, but yeah, that's gonna be really fun to see
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
That's this spring, correct?
Yeah, it should, from last time I talked to Dan Stork, it was going to start this spring, yeah.
And do you have numbers on that already yet, or?
Not for flag football,
Okay.
but from talking to Dan about it, there was a very good response and a lot of
Okay.
girls who were interested in joining it, so.
And what ages is that for?
7 through 12.
Yeah,
What?
7 through 12,
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
from what I understand.
yeah.
Is it a community ed, is it sanctioned?
It's through the State High School League, but it's not like a sanctioned high school sport at the moment.
So you
So
can
it'd
be
be
in
ran
like
through community ed.
Spring, gotcha.
But there's-
So, yeah, so our kids could play softball, run track, and then still participate in flag football, because the games are on Sundays. Waterville and Fairmont, I think, were the closest local schools that were in it last year.
And I would just like to say, I think you deserve a medal for Legoland. It's right by my office, and I just,
I think, last time I looked at the roster, there was at least 20 in each section, and 20 is a lot, but they have so much fun, and they absolutely enjoy
I
it.
don't know how to do it.
Unfortunately, it's only once a month, but that's all I can do it, but when they come there, man, they have fun. They do.
Nice, do not go barefoot in that room.
I had no
They
doubt.
actually do a really good job cleaning up though afterwards. I'm impressed with those kids, so, yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Macy.
Thank you.
Mr. Berg.
Okay, since we last met, the major event we had here is homecoming. It's over. Okay. It's one of the toughest weeks here, but the kids enjoy it, so we make it the best that we can for them. We got fall activities to be wrapping up. Football playoffs tomorrow, volleyball playoffs on Thursday. Cross country runs on Thursday as well. On Friday, we've got grades 11 and 12 going to a college and career fair in Albert Lee, one that we go to regularly. Monday night, we'll have indoor marching band. And the end of the quarter is not Friday, but the next Friday. So we've got 9 days left to make sure we got all of our kids passing, which will lead into what Miss Peterson's going to talk about. National Honor Society will be November 5th, and our Veterans Day program that we always do is November 11th. That's open to the public and at 1:30. Questions? Good? If anybody needs yellow rubber duckies, I've got plenty in my office. Be talking to HR tomorrow too.
Get those instead of moving this year?
What's the? I don't know anything about it.
Guilty.
Yep.
Welcome, Miss Peterson.
Thank you. I'll try to stay out of everyone's way. So we started doing 3-week grade check-ins. So every 3 weeks I print out the progress reports for any student who's failing. They will get a yellow sheet. I go through and put the student's name on it. I put what day, I think I printed them, and then what day it's due by, and then what class they have. So let's take Sarah, for example. If she's failing one class, she would get 1 yellow sheet stapled with the progress report. If Terry's failing 4 classes, she would get 4 sheets stapled with 4 progress reports, and then if they have a missing or a missing incomplete, it would be highlighted, so that way the parent can look at it, see these are how many missing assignments they have, or there was a little bit of a tick with some kids cheating in math class. I highlighted those kind of things, so that way when they're getting them home, they're aware of what the progress report is, what their percentage is, and then what they have missing. And by all means, stop and ask questions at any time. But like I said, it's just a check-in process for our students in 6th through 12th grade. Every 3 weeks, we conduct the grade checks to help monitor academic progress. Any students who failing a class at any time in the week will get that grade check-in form to review that they sign, and then they have to return it. I know some kids get really frustrated because I will run the grades on Monday and then give them their papers on Wednesday. I try to do it Tuesday, but it's a process. I didn't realize how much time it would actually take to do all the paperwork, staple it, get it all out. But like they might have been failing on Monday, and when they got the paperwork, they were passing on Wednesday. But since I did the grade check, they still have to bring it home to a parent and then sign it. So the purpose of the grade check-in for us is just to increase communication between the students, the teachers, and the parents about their academic progress. As much as we would hope parents are checking JMC on the regular or their Schoology, a lot of them aren't. They do receive I shouldn't say a lot of them aren't, but some of them might not know how to get into it, or they struggle with like knowing what's going on, or we always hear, well, my kid said they turned it in and it's just not graded yet, and it's a lack of that communication between. Identifying struggling students early before the end of the quarter or a semester so they have time to improve their grades. Encourage accountability by having students take responsibility for tracking their own performance. Provide an opportunity for reflection. So the breakdown I gave you guys is what we give our students, what they have to bring home. I have it up on a slide too. But that way they can talk with their teachers about their missing work, their test retakes, ways they can improve their grades. In my class, it's very different than, let's say, how Carla would run hers or Angie would run hers. I leave mine open from day 1 till mid-quarter, and the kids are very aware that they can turn in anything for full credit up until that date. Where maybe Angie's class, they have until the very next Friday or until they take their test. So again, it's a way for kids to communicate with their teachers of when things are due. Offer support and intervention by allowing staff to connect with students, whether that's at Panther Den, bring a student to the SAT team, or if we have a different resource that we can provide. I know I talked to a student earlier about potentially coming in and meeting with Miss Ashley Tolzman during her first hour, because it's not super busy, to try and get a little bit more on-one help, because he doesn't fall under our 504 plan or our IEPs, but definitely needs a little bit help in his classes. So for some of the goals, again, early identification and struggling for students, so try to detect that academic issues before report cards, allowing time for improvement and intervention. Increase student accountability, so encourage those students to take ownership of their learning, monitor that progress, and then make a plan to raise their grades, and then improve communication, so strengthen collaboration among students, teachers, parents, guardians through regular updates and reflection opportunities. So before the students get those, any student who would receive an F would have gotten an email from me. So it would go to, let's say Hallie failed a class, it would go to Rick, Jackie, and Hallie saying, you're receiving this email due to your student receiving an F or multiple Fs in their classes. Please make sure you go through that paper with your student, their progress report, and then bring back your paperwork by Friday at this time. Again, a goal is reduction in failing grades, decrease the number of failing grades by promoting timely academic support and follow-up, enhance reflection and growth mindset, so again, provide students an opportunity to reflect on their performance, identify challenges, set goals for their academic improvement, and then data-driven decision-making. So we've only done 2 grade check-ins, but it's nice just to kind of document, our kids who are maybe frequent flyers. Are they staying on there? Are they turning their stuff in? Are we having kids have multiple Fs? Is it due to not understanding the work, the fact that they just don't want to do the work, what's the issue of them not getting their homework turned in or not understanding the information. Using those grade check data to identify school-wide trends, target support, and measure the effectiveness of those academic interventions. So brief breakdown of the process. I run grade checks on Monday for every student, so I just type in any student with an F from 6th through 12th grade. It will send me a list of every student and then the class they're failing. So then I go through and click on every student's name and print out that progress for every student for that report. And so again, I didn't print one because I didn't want to have anyone's student's name on it. Even by taking it out, you can still sometimes see it, and I just don't want to deal with it. So like I said, every class, if Hallie was failing, it would say Hallie Schultz, Health 10, and then it would list what she was failing, and if there was multiple, she'd have a different sheet per each class. And then I put each student's name on top of the yellow sheet, what class they're failing, when it's due by, and then I separate all of them into their first hour teacher, deliver them to their teachers to give them out on Wednesday during first hour at the end of the first hour. We tried to figure out how to make it function a little bit better so the teachers weren't giving them out in class. It's the only time we could see all of them. As bad as it sounds, if you give them to them at lunch, it's just very obvious. Not that it's not during class, but hopefully if it's at the end of the class, it's not drawing a huge red flag to the situation. And again, it's trying to talk to the kids about it. This isn't you're terrible, you're doing whatever. This is hey, we're checking in on you. We're trying to figure out what we can do to help you out to get that class up. So at the end of the quarter, you're not failing, and now all of a sudden you have to scramble in second quarter, or you're scrambling to try to be passing your class for graduation because you missed it in time. I take all of the kids' names and put it into a grade check-in spreadsheet, so I have it documented. If they bring their paper back to me, I have it documented. If they are getting multiple Fs on the grade 1 check-in, grade 2 check-in, so that'll be all documented. Like I said, I document who turns their sheets in, and then I usually send out multiple emails. So the first grade check-in, I think I sent out 3 different emails asking for people to bring their sheets back. Right now I've sent in 2. Tomorrow I'll send the 3rd one, just asking for anyone else to submit them still. This is just a breakdown of dates. Like I said, we already did the 1st and the 2nd one. The 3rd one will be next week, which is kind of, I don't want to say counterproductive, but it's right before the end of the quarter, so hopefully it's one more push. You've got just a couple of days with going out on the 28th, and it's due, end of the quarter will be on the 31st, so this will be the breakdown throughout the whole year of when they'll go out. You guys have the top part, but it's just a student reflection. It's to be completed by the student before the parent and guardian sign. So the goal is, hopefully, not to pick on Hallie, but she's easy. If she is failing a class, she'd bring that sheet home to Rick and Jackie and say, the main reason I'm currently having an F in this class is, and then they go through it. Is it missing assignments? I'm not studying. I'm not prepared for the tests or quizzes. Difficulty understanding the material. I'm not using my class time wisely. And then there's an other spot, so if they want to mark and put down something else. My plan to improve my grade is, and then a complete missing assignments on time, ask my teacher for extra help, study more regularly, stay more focused in class. I've had people type in an other and put in Panther Den, or I check in with Mrs. Eater before or after school, a couple of different options. And then the next slide will be the parent guardian checklist. So again, we reviewed the missing assignments together. My student understands what assignments need to be completed. We created a plan at home to complete the missing work. I'll follow up with my student weekly about their progress. My student will ask their teachers for clarification or support if needed, and I'd like to schedule a meeting with the teacher to discuss this grade further. There's probably maybe 4 so far that have clicked that box, and I have reached out to all of them. One of them said they already talked to them. 2 others said they'll be meeting, and the last one was like, oh, I didn't actually mean to do that. I was like, okay. So, yeah, it's just interesting to get the reflection back on if they have any concerns and questions, and so, yeah. So our first set of numbers when we sent this out, this was in September, the 3rd week of school, so that we have a number of students with an F. At that time, we had 54 students. Number of students with 2 Fs were 16. Number of students with 3 or more Fs were 7. The number of grade check-in forms that went out to the student and the parents were 87. So again, just because we only had 54 students didn't mean like we had a couple of students who had multiple, right? Number of grade check-in forms I received back were 38. I sent out 3 emails trying to wrap up with parents and students saying, hey, please get this back to me. I had 1 parent call and 3 extra email follow-ups. This last one was done just a couple weeks ago. Our number of students with an F is to 40. Number of students with 2 Fs is at 7. Number of students with 3 Fs or more is at 9. We have a couple that are heavy frequent flyers on that list. One of those 9 is failing at least 5 of their classes at the moment. I pulled them to talk to them today, and they kind of laughed about it, and I said, no, we need to set something up. Like, you're in 10th grade, this is a huge concern, and we need to respectfully light a fire under your butt because we want you passing, and this isn't based off of academics, it's based off of like getting your work in. So trying to figure that out with them. Number of grade check-in forms I received back was 18, so definitely lower than the first one, which is a little frustrating. 3 emails went out to the parents and students. The third one, I apologize, will be going out tomorrow. And then setting up with those 9 students failing multiple classes. So I've met with 1 or 2 of them, and then I'll meet with the other 7 in the next, hopefully, week. So just a little bit of stat breakdown. So right now, our graduates from last year had 6 seniors with a GPA of under 2.0, so that'd be a C. 3 seniors with a GPA of under 1.66, which would be a D. Our graduates from this year, as of right now, we have 4 seniors with a GPA under 2.0, 2 seniors with a GPA under 1.66. Our juniors right now, sorry, I put seniors when they graduate, but our juniors right now have a GPA of 2.0 with 6 of them. We have 3 that would have a GPA of 1.66. And then our 28 graduates, we have 8 with a GPA under a 2.0 and 5 with a GPA under a 1.66. And that 28 class, we have 1 who's low. So again, trying to figure out what we can do to try to get them to figure out what we can do to help them graduate and what they need for support from us. And then the 29 graduates right now, we have 8 kids with a GPA under a 2.0 and 5 with a 1.66 or below. Some challenges that I've learned is the grade check-in forms and the progress reports definitely takes a little longer of just organizing everything. It'll get a little smoother. A couple of more times I do it, I realized after the first one I need to start printing them on Monday so I can get them out on Wednesday. Parent and student understanding. We sent out an email, I don't know, I think within the first week-ish explaining things, but like all of us, that week is very heavy. You're getting a lot of emails, and so some parents and students didn't understand. I got an email within the first week of like, I'm not even in your class. I'm like, well, I understand that. However, this is school-wide, or parents not fully understanding that, yes, we're getting it, but like, why do we have to give it back to you type of thing. So I'm thinking I should send another one in, just a reminder of the process since it's starting this year. And then right now, just kind of a lack of buy-in, not by our staff, but just with communicating of students. They're like, well, what are you going to do about it type of a situation. You know, you're emailing me, but that's all the follow-up. Right. So if you're not going to hold me accountable, why do I have to bring the sheet back? So that's a little bit frustrating of trying to help them understand that this is actually to benefit you guys. So we're just, Mr. Berg and I have been in communication to try to figure out, you know, what would those accountability factors, what could they look like? And how do we move forward from there?
If I can interrupt right there, are you having some resistance from the parent also on that, or is it strictly in a...
I haven't had any pushback from parents. Okay. Any email that I've received, they're like, I apologize. Okay. They already brought it in. And it's like, no, they didn't. Or they already turned it into this so-and-so. There hasn't been any, surprisingly, yet of like, you already emailed me 3 times, we're not doing it. So I don't know. It'd be interesting. I want to send out I think it's in a next slide of like just blank, but like parent-student feedback, which the student
Right.
feedback might be interesting, but the parent feedback, do you think this is valuable?
Right.
Are you actually looking through it? But then I also had a teacher tell me today that they don't think parents really check emails at all.
Sure.
So, you know, as much as I'd love to say, call every 87 or 54 parents, you know, every 3 weeks, I mean, we could, but would that be any more beneficial?
Sometimes I have the tendency to connect non-support from the parent to a
Mm-hmm,
student struggling and
Yeah.
so, and that's maybe an unfair comparison, but
no, because we definitely have
it's
that too.
interesting to know if you get that parent support behind this.
Yeah,
Can you utilize JMC with that, where you say they don't check emails? I'm okay with it, not great, but, so I get that, but they have phones, so does JMC allow you to select that specific group that you're targeting to send them a text message? Because GMC can do that.
so right now, because I don't want to send mass emails to every student in Richland, because if Hallie's failing and your kid is not, I don't want to send a mass email to everybody. So I go through every single time and like list our students, and then I go and make sure I pull every single kid's
Right.
email. So I guess I don't know if we would have, that'd be more of a Sarah Nikki question or Angie question, if we have cell phone numbers for all of our students' parents, which I guess we could, but then respectfully, as I guess I shouldn't care because my cell phone's on everything our coaches related, but sending out a text message, I guess if it was through JMC, I don't know if that can do that either through a text.
You almost have to do it individually.
I think my only concern with that.
Correct. Yeah, because right now I
It would just be
send
that
them.
same group that you're sending an email to that you would send a text to. Hey,
Yeah.
reminder, check your email.
I just know a lot of the times when we're sending out messages on JMC through the phone bank, like
Mhm.
it's because of an emergency or something like
Yeah.
that. And
Sure.
if you continue to do that to the phones, then when it is an emergency, parents, the ones that are going to go, nah, whatever,
They
Are they not gonna-
they used to send out things through their like reminder, there's a band concert on Monday, reminder, the elementary concert's this day, so we used to utilize it that way. I just wonder if it's just
Yeah.
a tool you can use.
Well, like you said, it's one more touch point, because I agree, I think at every level, at some point you stop looking at your emails, whether you're a parent or a student, because well, you don't want to pull things up through an email or you get sick of it. But next steps or future plans, I will continue to do this throughout the year. Hopefully collect data, the amount of students who are failing per grade check, the student progress, student of concern, and then student improvement. So hopefully I'll be able to see throughout the year if Hallie's failing one class in the first check-in, and all of a sudden when we do the third check-in, if she's failing multiple classes, well, what happened between the second check-in and the third check-in, so we'll have all that documented. And then having that long-term data tracking to compare end of the quarter failure rates from this year to last year and whatnot. And then again, I left early impact and I think parent and student feedback, because I haven't done either one, just because it seems too soon to really see an impact. Anyone have any questions?
So you've only had 2 student check-ins, but have you seen where some students goes, oh, I was on the first list and they've come off the list?
Yeah, I guess that I didn't put that on there, but there's a handful that were on the first one and were not on the second, which was really great to see. There's a couple, and they see me in the hallway, they're like, I promise I've started getting my stuff done. And I said, perfect, I'll talk to you later. So at least it's, again, not that we don't have staff that care, because we do, but it's another person that they know is aware and they're checking in on them, and they're gonna, I don't want to say have to report to somebody, but it's, again, another touch point of this person wants me to graduate, this person is aware of what I'm doing, and if I'm getting my stuff turned in, so.
Good, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, a couple things on my agenda then. I shared with a couple of you, it's a casual conversation or passing conversation, that we did receive notice from Bolt and Mink that the Highway 30 project is being put on hold till the summer of 2027. So FYI, that And that's, again, obviously based on funding and just how that all works. So we'll see what we learn as that goes along. A couple things that we're working on right now, our policy committee, and I did put this in a newsletter, I believe, that our policy committee did meet on that policy 506, and I think I explained what a huge project that turned out to be. And then we did contact MSBA just to ask, are you working on something like that? They did respond that yes, they are, or they were seeking legal advice at first, and then they responded back that they will be putting out a policy on that. So thank you to them for putting something together. We'll wait till we hear from them and tweak it as we need to and bring that to the board for the first reading and second reading once that comes available. So, but we did also have that use for outdoor school facilities policy that we also talked about. And I had my notes here to put that on the October meeting, but I think I was waiting until we met in November, so I'll have it on our November agenda, just a policy that we worked on as well, to put that out there for adding to our policies. So just be aware of that. A few of us, in that being Dr. Meyer, myself, and actually Dan Schmidt attended a school safety summit in Rochester, was that a couple weeks ago? There, October 7th and 8th were two different dates available. I attended on the 7th and Dan and Kim attended on the 8th. That was put on by Region 1 Emergency, and a number of different schools from the area attended. But a couple different things that we're doing with school safety, and this was actually more of like a natural disaster type. The keynote speaker was the superintendent of the time from Kansas, Joplin, Missouri, where the big tornado went through
Oh, yeah.
10 years ago, 15 years ago. Wiped out the whole community, like 8 different buildings had to be replaced, and what a huge ordeal. It was an interesting, it was story hour, but it was a very interesting story. Then we broke into some sessions in the afternoon on kind of some what if scenarios. Students missing from a field trip, what do you do? Students not getting out, dropped off a bus at their bus stop, what do you do? You know, different things like that. So that was very helpful, and had a chance to talk with Steele County with the elementary, and Grant's been working with Waseca County here as well, and Kim's been talking with Steele County too, lining up some different trainings with those sheriff office coming in to do some trainings for the staff on different scenarios or different reunification practices and policies, procedures, and then also intruder drill procedures and practices. So a lot of different things. And actually Mankato State is working on a larger grant to be a center of excellence, and they're looking at some of the local school districts to be part of this grant and part of this center of excellence, and we'll join up with them and many of our neighboring districts too to have the opportunity to partner with them and use them as resources and use one another as resources on some school safety issues and learning opportunities. The Department of Ed, or excuse me, the Department of Public Safety was at this school safety summit as well, and they can come in and do an assessment of our protocols and our policy and plan. So we're lining them up to come in and do some assessments of what we have in place and different tweaks and adjustments that we can make. So obviously a couple different situations happened this fall in the state and across the country that is always on our mind and is always a thought and something that we need to continue to be working on. So just for your information that we are working on it, we are having different meetings and conversations and attending different trainings, and that is a big topic for us, and we continue to push forward with it. Then lastly on my list, another hot topic is our AI guidelines with everything technology in the world that we live in. That Angie and I have had a couple different conversations on how we can incorporate, how we can safely help our students learn more and be responsible citizens, technology citizens when it comes to everything technology, but more specifically AI. And so we'll use what's out there, probably use AI to develop some sort of guidelines and put that together and bring that to the board for your approval, and then get it out to our students and our families at some point here this early school year as well. Some of the big topics that we're working on as far as the administrative team goes. Any questions on that? Or for anyone else that presented? If not, that would conclude our administrative report.
Great. Thank you very much. Good information there, and it's nice to get caught up with what's happening within the district, so thank you all for attending. Any board member comments this evening? Want to make note that it was nice to see the FFA out for their annual corn drive. They stopped by, visited with some students that were working hard that day, and it was fun to see that, and I hope it was successful. So thank you to those people that organized that and saw it through for hopefully a successful event. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, November 17th. That will be over in Ellendale at the Elementary School Media Center at 6:30 p.m. With that, it brings us to the consent agenda items, and Mr. Mayak, I would ask you to introduce that.
Our regular disclaimer for the consent agenda is that the board has been furnished with background information on these items, or we have discussed them at previous meetings. These items will be acted upon with one vote without discussion. If a board member wants to discuss any item, it will be pulled out of the consent agenda and we'll vote on it separately. But before we move forward with that, we'll read the following donations for public recognition. Our donations this month are from Brian and Jodelle Wayne, $500 for our inclusive playground. Midwest Bank for $500 for our inclusive playground. And the Waldorf Fire Department for $500 for our inclusive playground. The NRHEG football boosters for $3,500 for our football uniforms. The NRHEG PTO for $119.10 for remotes for tech. Wyatt Larson donated $200 for his Eagle Scout project supplies. Jason and Lacey Kupel, $140 for Eagle Bluff. Johnson Apartments, $200 for Eagle Bluff. Ellendale Fire Department, $500 for Eagle Bluff. Federated Insurance, $500 for Eagle Bluff. Peterson Trucking LLC, $300 Eagle Bluff. Kurtz Truck and Diesel, $100 Eagle Bluff. Sequoia Landscape, $150 Eagle Bluff. NRHEG PTO, $2,000 for Eagle Bluff. Sorensen Appliance, $75 for Eagle Bluff. BLK Electric, $50 for Eagle Bluff. Team Geneva, $440 for Eagle Bluff. Geneva Fire Relief, $300 for Eagle Bluff. Kathleen Crabtree Wayne, $100 for Eagle Bluff. The Lions Club of Ellendale, $500 for Eagle Bluff. Jesse Joint, $200 for Eagle Bluff. Geneva Lumber, $500 for Eagle Bluff. Bioplastic Solutions, $200 for Eagle Bluff. And the State Bank of New Richland, $200 for Eagle Bluff. The grand total of donations for this month were $11,774.10, bringing our year to date to $42,599.71. And with that recognition, I'd ask you to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda report.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Erke, seconded by Mr. Schoenrock to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have a fiscal year 25 draft audit presentation here this evening. Mr. Mayak, please.
Sorry, let me bring that up here.
Or Carla, I assume, is involved.
Yeah, we have Chad Guzzi from our ABDO with us today, and again, the details on the draft versus the real audit, if there's still some formalities waiting to be done, but
Yeah,
This-
Chad, can you hear us?
He can explain better than I can about the federal, what we're waiting on there.
the volume should be good here. Can you hear us, Chad?
Can
Okay.
everyone hear me and foresee me, hopefully?
Yep. Yes to both of those.
Sounds good. So, what you have all been waiting for, tonight, I will go through the, NRHEG 2025 audit. As mentioned, my name is Chad Guzzi, Senior Associate from ABDO. The purpose of this presentation is to go through those audit results and to touch on key financials from the year. So like Mike said, I want to start off by saying that the 2025 audit is still technically in draft form. That is because with the school requiring a federal single audit and the federal government has not published the compliance supplement for the year yet. So once that is completed, we can go ahead and finalize it if there's any additional testing that we need to do. So to start, our responsibilities as auditors is to give an opinion on the financial statements. For the fiscal year 2024 through 2025, we give an unmodified or clean opinion. That just means nothing came to our attention that indicated there was a material misstatement of the financial statements. We are also required to do some testing regarding Minnesota legal compliance, things like contracting and bidding, public indebtedness, claims and disbursements. We noted one instance related to contracting and bidding that I will talk about further on the next slide. Also, if the school district expends more than $750,000 of federal money, that triggers a federal single audit, which is just some additional testing required related to those expenditures, and we noted no instances of non-compliance related to that. Other audit results, fiscal year 2025 findings. The first finding is limited segregation of duties, and this is due to the small staff size and is very common for districts, similar districts your size. It's basically saying that duties are not separated enough to mitigate control risk. This means it's even more important to have good board oversight of the financials. The preparation of financial statements findings is saying that we prepared the large audit report for you, and Carla and Mike review. Also very common for a district of your size. And the third one is that contracting and bidding legal compliance finding mentioned earlier. So the Minnesota statute sets certain requirements for contracts that exceed certain thresholds. For contracts over $175,000, those contracts should be let on sealed bids. The security camera and door access project was not let out on sealed bids, instead only receiving quotes, which resulted in that finding. This one is just saying the audit findings from the last fiscal year. So the material audit adjustment last year was removed, but the segregation of duties and the preparation of financial statement findings are still current for the fiscal year. Auditor recommendations. So this relates to credit card documentation. We came across some credit card transactions that didn't have the proper backup. We recommend getting the proper documentation for all credit card transactions. So an example of this would be getting event tickets. Try to get them online so that it comes with a proper receipt versus maybe at the door, which may be a little bit more difficult to get that proper documentation behind it. Getting into the graphs. So we like to start by showing where enrollment has trended over the last 5 years. This is showing that the school's ADM has decreased consistently over the past several years. Just something for the board to take note of. This graph compares the school's unassigned fund balance to the school's policy. So the policy is to have a fund balance between 22% and 28%, basically around 3 months of expenditures of next year's budgeted expenditures. As you can see with the orange line, your fund balance is consistently above that threshold, which just indicates a healthy fund balance. This next graph is similar to the last one. It compares that fund balance as a percentage of expenditures to other schools in your region, which are schools like Waseca, Janesville, United South Central, as well as the statewide average. This next slide is the general fund budget to actual summary. So a few things to note here. Revenues came in over budget by $411,000. This is mostly due to state grants related to general education aid coming in higher than expected. Expenditures were over budget, mostly related to capital outlay for pupil support services. This was due to leasing some instructional iPads and capital outlay relating to leasing some new buses. Other financing sources and uses. The debt issued relates to those same leases that were issued that I touched on earlier, and then also receiving some amounts for insurance proceeds and sale of capital assets. And then there was a transfer out of the general fund into the community service fund. In this graph, we are comparing the school's 3 major funding sources in the orange bars to prior data from other districts in your region, which is the black bar, as well as prior year statewide averages, which is yellow. So revenues from state sources is comparable to the statewide average, but you are less favorable for federal and local revenues. Sorry about that. Property taxes. This graph compares the property taxes per ADM and the average school district property tax per home to other peer groups. Just note that there's lower taxes than other districts compared to your region. So this list totals general fund expenditures and breaks it down by program. The biggest change here is capital outlay this year. The purchase of those buses and athletic equipment and some of those iPads. No big change in instructional expenses, which would be those orange and tan colors on the graph. So those are remaining pretty consistent year over year. This graph and the next couple are box and whisker graphs, which basically breaks things down into 4 different quartiles. With the purpose is to show where those outlier areas are. So the orange line is New Richland expenditures per ADM. They are below the statewide averages, but they are on trend over the last couple years. Similar to the previous graph, elementary and secondary regular instruction per ADM, still below average compared to other schools in the state, but still following that same trend. Special ed costs have also increased over the past couple years, but right in line with other schools. Next is the food service fund budget to actuals. So actual revenues are pretty comparable to what was budgeted for. Expenditures were under budget by about $30,000. Those are due to supplies and materials expense coming in less than anticipated. Overall, a positive change in fund balance of $62,000. Food service expenditures per ADM. This increased compared to recent years. This can be attributed to lower ADM and the rising food costs since COVID. Community service funds, budget to actuals, revenue amounts over budget due to increased revenue from SAC fees and school readiness tuition. And then expenditures were also over budget due to increased costs for salaries and supplies, which makes sense with the increased revenue from fees and tuition. Expenditures per ADM increasing over the years and right in line with the state average, reasonable when considering increased inflation over the years. So the debt service fund accounts for the proceeds and uses of issued debt, as well as the required debt service payments. This just lists out current outstanding debt amounts along with the total outstanding interest payments. Not too much else to add here, mostly just forecasting out the debt principal and interest payments over the next 10 years. This graph shows the total cash and investment balance for the school compared to previous years. As you can see, the big change is mostly in the building construction fund, which had a lot of work completed for the fiscal year 2025. This is the rest of the ABDO team. If there are any questions, feel free to reach out to Carla or Mike to get our contact information. That concludes the presentation. Is there any questions I can try to answer or anything?
So the actual audit that we will approve, we can expect that next month. Is that your timeline on the?
So it really depends on the federal government, and I don't know if that's too high on their priority list at the moment,
Okay.
Considering everything. But I would hope so that we can get this one finalized and other school districts as well. I would expect it in the next month, but.
So Chad, I think you said that you will check back in with us, and assuming there's nothing significant that changes, we'll put that on the agenda, but you guys won't be presenting anything again.
That is correct.
For the time being, we've shared your presentation, of course, but then the actual 100+ page financial report for them to page through at their leisure and come up with great questions.
Yeah, we can get those final drafts or final presentation and statements over to you when we can do so.
Great. Any other questions that anyone has? Appreciate you taking time from your evening to join us and walk us through. Fund balance remains strong at the NRHEG district. We're happy to see that. That's been a kind of a icon of the district, that we've maintained that very strongly over the course of time, and we're proud of that, obviously. Want to continue to protect that, so that's good to see that staying. Once again, I think it bears mentioning that our the graph with the taxes of this district compared to locals in the area, I believe. Maybe the public is getting tired of hearing that, but I like to bring it to that point over and over, that substantially lower than other districts. So again, something that this district, I think, can be proud of, and the taxpayers, I hope, are appreciative of that. So with that, we thank you for your time again in the evening like this. Pleasure to meet you and visit with you for that. So we'll be watching for the official documentation when other people get their work done. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Chad.
Thanks, guys.
So I don't think that we need a motion to approve the draft. Is there documentation to approve the
Yeah,
draft?
I don't think they cared, we did put it under there.
Sure,
It says draft if you do wanna
Right.
approve
sure,
what was presented tonight.
okay.
State-wise, obviously they're aware of the government shutdown and everything, so
Yes, yep, they issued something extending a deadline to March as a result
Okay.
of things, but, you know, again, they're ready as soon as they get this guidance to wrap things up, but, yeah, yes, the state is aware.
I don't think it would hurt to
Right, I
accept
was
the
just
draft,
thinking
and
that too,
Right.
in a measure of caution.
we've been made aware and
Right, we would,
understand what the amounts are and
right.
accept that.
So at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the draft audit for fiscal year 25 as presented.
I move to approve the fiscal year 25 draft audit and the annual financial report as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Shunrock, seconded by Ms. Taylor to approve the draft audit as presented. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have before us this evening, Staff Development Committee and Site Teams plan.
Last month, we presented the the staff development goals and the staff development budget, and we did not have the committee and the site teams finalized, as you know, new staff was coming in and making sure that we had everyone still on board and willing to be part of the committee and the building reps. So with that now finalized, we're just presenting to you the committee members and then who the building reps will be. So just asking for your recommendation, or I'm recommending to you to approve the committee members and the site team members as are presented in the spreadsheet.
I make a motion to approve the staff development committee and site teams as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Ms. Herkey to approve the Staff Development Committee and Site Teams as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Again, showing this time of year we are at, we are looking to set the date for the January 26th organizational meeting. We would like to set that on January 5th of 2026. I think we've been holding those a little earlier in the evening. Do we have a time for that? Or a time recommendation, or do we want to visit that through? Or did we continue that at 6:30?
No. It doesn't. I guess whatever convenient.
Right, right.
If we're able to go earlier. No, I didn't put a time in.
Everyone pull up their calendars and we'll look that over. I know it's a little bit, for some reason, that's
what I
what
was thinking.
rings a bell with me of
5:30.
of 5:30.
If everyone can make it.
If that's workable. So let's plan on January 5th at 5:30 p.m. If we run into a problem there, we will have to adjust. But for right now, I would entertain a motion to make the organizational meeting January 5th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Erke, seconded by Ms. Tyre to approve January 5th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. at the NRHEG Secondary School Media Center as our organizational meeting. And also on that same line, we have regular board meeting dates for January and February.
I think we have to
We have
approve
to
that
do
first.
the motion
Ah,
carries.
Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for correcting me there. Now we can move on to the next item, which is the regular board meeting dates for January and February of 2026. Mr. Maya, do you want to update us again on that?
Yeah, as always, those having it the third Monday of every month. January and February meetings fall on the observed holidays of Martin Luther King and President's Day, so just to get that in schedule onto this calendar and scheduled, we'd look to move those to the Tuesday, the following day, the Tuesday, January 20th, and Tuesday, February 17th, asking for your approval to do that.
Motion, please.
Motion to approve the regular board meeting dates for the year 2026 and to move January and February meetings to Tuesdays versus Mondays.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Erke, seconded by Ms. Tyre to approve the meeting dates for January and February of 2026 for Tuesday, January 20th and Tuesday, February 17th. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. As we are all aware, last month we met in closed session for the annual evaluation of our superintendent, Mr. Michael Myhock. It is our obligation to report the findings of that evaluation, and I have that summarized to be read here this evening. The NRHEG Board of Education met in closed session September 15th, 2025 for the purpose of the superintendent evaluation for 24-25 school year. All members were present, including Superintendent Michael Myhock. 4 performance goal areas were discussed. Number 1, superintendent providing proper communications and information. Number 2, superintendent providing safe, welcoming learning environments for students, staff, and families. Number 3, superintendent presenting budgets and explaining district resources and focus on public relations, instruction, and facilities. And number 4, superintendent providing professional development that promotes growth and stays informed on trends, innovative, and best practices. Discussion was held on all 4 goal areas and was concluded that Mr. Myhock meets or exceeds the BOE's expectations. Areas of strength were credited to Mr. Myhock on community involvement, visibility, and the work representing NRHEG. It is the board's belief that staff relationships continue to remain strong. Compliments were given about the maintenance and general appearance of our district. Mr. Myhock shared with the BOE that he will continue to learn and grow with the district. The BOE appreciates the good working relationship with him. This was read and recorded in the minutes on October 20th, 2025 at the monthly NRHEG board meeting. If there are no additions or corrections to that summary, I would entertain a motion to approve that summary.
I move to approve the superintendent's evaluation summaries presented.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Schoenrock, seconded by
Me.
Yes. Ms. Engel to approve the superintendent's evaluation as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That concludes our work here this evening, and I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So, second.
Motion made by Ms. De La Cruz, seconded by Ms. Tyre to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.